All right, hello everyone, and welcome to MMA Island. I'm Zach Harkness, and today I'm joined by someone who's made his name one to remember with his performance this past Wednesday, the Miracle, Lerone Murphy. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Yes, bro, I'm doing good, man. Still high on life.
Yeah, I can imagine with that great performance you had on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, first thing, I want to start off this interview by obviously asking about your excellent performance in your win over Ricardo Ramos, but I want to start with the location. I think you are the first UFC fighter to ever fight in Abu Dhabi twice, and for you it was consecutive. You fought there back to back. Do you think your experience in fighting there previously gave you an advantage over your opponent, knowing what to expect when it came to the climate and everything?
Nah, not at all. It was totally different this time round. The venue was cool. It was a different venue, different setup, no fans, everything was different. So even Fight Island was different. So I didn't have no advantage going in that way, but it was all fun this time.
So I know like the big story going into the UFC 242 Abu Dhabi fights was that it was really hot inside the arena. Was the heat that bad in the Fight Island arena?
No, it's perfect. It was perfect. It was so cool. They had the aircon on a perfect temperature. Obviously, there was no fans, so that means no body heat collecting. And it was perfect. It felt great in there.
All right. Well, I want to ask you about the abnormal fighting time. Because the UFC wants to broadcast the Fight Island events during prime time, fighters like
Yeah.
yourself are having to fight in the middle of the night and early morning. How did you prepare for fighting at such an odd time? And was it weird fighting at these like crazy middle of the night hours?
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. To be honest, when I was going into the fight, I felt like asleep. I was ready for bed, me. But so we swapped our sleeping times around. We went to we had a nap at like 8 p.m. We woke back up at 2, and we trained at about 2 a.m. just to try to get the body clock going, and we went to sleep at about 7 a.m. But my body couldn't adjust to it in that time, so I was having 3-4 hours sleep all week, and it was like I just felt a bit drained. And like when it comes to the fight, I just didn't feel that switched on. It took me a minute to get into the fight, then. But
Yeah.
obviously, the UFC have to do that. There's no fans. They have to get the maximum broadcast. It's understandable. It's right.
So, when did you find out that you would be fighting at these crazy hours? Like how long after you signed the deal?
Maybe a week or two before. I seen some interviews with some fighters talking about the timing of the fights and stuff. I didn't get any memos or anything of it. I just seen some interviews about fighting at 4 a.m. So we just started adjusting from then.
So yeah, you mentioned a bunch of adjustments. What steps did you and your training camp make to help you, be able to really acclimate to fighting in such an odd hour?
We tried to get up at like 2 a.m. and do workouts, but it didn't feel right. It was hard to adjust to. We maybe needed to get to Abu Dhabi like 2 weeks before instead of a week before, but it all worked out in the end. I can't complain.
Yeah. So I want to move into the next question. And one more question before we talk about the fight itself. How was your experience on Fight Island? The UFC marketed the hell out of this place and portrayed it as this fighter's paradise. So as someone who's been on it, how was your time there?
It was paradise for me. It was crazy. Like we stayed in the W Hotel, which is one of the best hotels in the world. It was crazy hospitality. The food was amazing. All the hotel staff was amazing. We got tested like 5-6 times. Everything was just on point. It was just perfect. I felt like a top level athlete in the world. The way it was treated and stuff. So I loved it, man. It was an amazing experience. I'd love to do it again.
Did you get to use the training octagon on the beach?
Yeah. I went in there. Funny enough, as we was leaving, Dana White pulled up to do an interview, so we got to speak to him and that. So it was a crazy experience, man. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, Fight Island certainly looked like one hell of a place to be. And I know a lot of fighters are just like staying there, to like maybe get another fight before the whole period ends. Did you know that you were obviously like always going to leave very early from Fight Island? And did you ever consider staying there to maybe get another fight? Because you didn't take much damage in your fight.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was thinking as soon as I get this fight done, I need a month out. I've done back-to-back camps. I was supposed to fight in London in March, so I've been training all year. My body's run down. I've got niggles. I've got a few injuries and stuff. So my plan was just to get home and get recovering.
Yeah. So I want to now get into the fight itself. Early on in your fight against Ramos, he was throwing a lot of fancy techniques in the cage, from spinning kicks and slick grappling transitions. Was his out of the box style something that you were anticipating? And do you think fighting someone with that style gave you any advantages?
For me, I spar against kids like that in the gym all the time, and it's like I'm just waiting to get my time in. It took me a second to get my time in because he was throwing such mad techniques. I didn't think he was going to come out like that, but that kind of just shown that he underestimated me and thought he was on a different level than me. And obviously, ultimately, it got him caught.
So you felt like he was overconfident in the cage?
Yeah, definitely. He was overconfident. When you throw in them flick kicks to the calf from the back stance like that, like you have it, you overconfident. He's causing no damage to me, and he's putting himself in danger. So to me, that was him like saying, "I'm better than you. I'm just having fun in here." So I just went and got the job done from there.
Yeah. And there was a point in that fight, like somewhere before the finish, where he was stopping throwing all those fancy techniques. So that must mean you would have got his attention. He would stop being overconfident. What point in the fight do you really think that you got this guy's attention and says, okay, I need to actually fight now?
Yeah, so there was a transition where I leaned on him on the cage and I hit him with two body shots, and I seen him like he's like switched on. Then he thought shit, and he felt my strength in the clinch, and I seen then when we broke off from that clinch, I seen that he knew he was in a fight then.
Yeah. And do you think that your power was giving him any trouble, like with those body shots, and like every time you hit him, it seemed like you really hurt him?
Yeah, I didn't really catch him flush like I wanted to. Obviously, like I said, I was for the first few minutes, my game plan was just to get his range and get his timing down, and I knew I was going to clip him sooner or later. I was just taking my time in that fight. I knew I was going to catch him sooner or later. He didn't even feel the power of my shots until he hit the ground.
So your game plan, you obviously had a great game plan going into your fight. And did you think that it would have ended so quickly for you against a guy that, you were an underdog for?
I was going for second round. I was going to get his timing in the first round, make him start respecting my feints and my power, and then second round get the finish. That was my plan anyway. But even if it went a distance, I know that he's a good fighter and he's 5-1 in the UFC. He's not no slouch, so I was expecting to maybe go the distance anyway.
So do you think that you must have felt him out a little bit earlier in the fight than you expected to, because, you got the finish in the first, not the second where you anticipated? At what point in the fight did you realize that you have this guy figured out, that you know what he's going to do?
Just when he was throwing the spinning stuff, and I just knew he was desperate because he didn't set anything up. He was throwing like mad like flick kicks and he didn't set anything up. So I just knew he was desperate then, and I knew he would gamble, and I knew he would gamble, and he did gamble. He tried to throw the spinning elbow on the back foot and got taken down and ground and pounded.
Yeah. During the fight, Ramos was hitting you with these weird behind the back leg kicks. Now, on commentary, Michael Bisping said that those kicks were a bad idea because they weren't hurting you at all. Now, there's only one guy who knows the answer to this, and it's you. Did those behind the back leg kicks cause any damage at all?
Not at all. It was just annoying. It's just like I was waiting for him. I was gonna go southpaw again and let him do it, and I would have just timed the left hand down the middle. He couldn't have threw too many of them. I would have picked that out straight away.
So do you think those behind the back leg kicks were another reflection of his overconfidence?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. At first, I thought maybe he's using these, so I rush in and he's going to shoot for a takedown. So I was just kind of letting him do it and just seeing what reaction he gets off my feint going forward. But he was just doing it just to kind of show off. So that's just overconfidence to me.
Like, yeah, he did it once, and you could expect only to do once, but then he kept on doing it. He threw that kick like 10 times. Were you surprised that he continued to go with such a strike that caused him to, be in such danger?
Exactly. No, he was just confident. He just wanted to put a show on for Dana and the UFC and his fans, obviously. But at this level, you can't afford to mess about like that because guys like me will capitalize on that.
Yeah. So one thing that surprised me in the fight is the way that you were taking him down when he was allegedly the superior grappler. But that's what led to you getting the victory. What did you see that led you to pursue at least a hypothetically more dangerous game plan?
I just felt his strength, and I just knew straight away I was stronger than him, and I just thought there's a difference between jiu-jitsu and MMA, and he's got very good jiu-jitsu, but when somebody's punching in the face like that, can you throw triangles? Can you throw arm bars?
Yeah. Because when you tried to take him down the first time, I remember he almost got your back. Like he was
Yeah.
on there. And then when you got him off, I was personally surprised when you went to go for the takedown again. So, like, after he got on your back, like, did you have any, like, doubt that you shouldn't go for the takedown again before you eventually did?
No, so because I got up so easy, I thought that was the point of the fight where I thought he can't hold me down. I'll fight how I want here. He can't hold me down. If it was like the fight before where I fought was a bear and he had super good top pressure and I was like, I can't afford to get to the floor again, it would have been a different game plan.
Yeah. So do you think that his experience as a bantamweight moving up to featherweight gave him a disadvantage fighting a bigger guy like yourself?
Yeah, not really. He's big. He was taller than he felt taller than me. He just wasn't that strong, as strong as people have fought before. But he's fought at featherweight before. He just stopped another featherweight in the first round. So he's big enough and good enough to be at featherweight.
Yeah. So one thing that really surprised me in that fight and one thing that looked really good was your killer instinct in that fight. Because when you took him down and you hit him with that first ground and pound shot, you noticed that he was hurt immediately and just started piling on with more shots and shots, which ended up to you winning the fight. So
Yeah.
at what point did your killer instinct kick in after that first ground and pound shot? And did you know that at this point the fight was going to be over?
Yeah, when I hit with that elbow, he was out. He went out and walked back up. I seen him, his whole body, like he dropped, his head dropped back and he was out. So from that point, I just knew just a few more shots and the fight's over. He didn't want to be there no more.
Yep, but he was surviving for a decently long time. Like when you had him up against the cage, you get like he went out after you hit him with another punch, and Bisping on commentary was like, "Oh, he's out." Could you hear that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It was
like
mad. So he had like a knee shield though, so I couldn't get close to finish. So that's what bought him a few seconds. But I managed to pass the guard, get into half guard again, and finish the fight.
were you surprised that he was able to last as long as he did with all those heavy shots raining down on him?
Not really. A lot of them hit the guard. Only a few actually come through. Obviously, the refs when you're blocking your face like that, the ref gives you a few seconds anyway. But it was always going to get stopped.
Right now, after your emphatic win, you walked over and stared down UFC president Dana White, and you said something to him. What did you say to Dana, and how did it feel to put on such a great performance in front of the boss?
I just said, "What's happening, Dana? Was that good enough for you?" Because obviously, a few days before, he posted me on if you don't know about the fights. So, I just felt like I had to go out and prove. Well, he's selected me on that. He's promoting me. I need to go and prove that I'm the boy. So I went out and done that.
Yeah. So, yeah, you gladiator type stuff. Are you entertained? All
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
move into the next question here. Obviously, a first round KO over a highly regarded talent in Ramos skyrockets you closer to the top 15 of the stacked division. Who are some of the opponents that you're looking to get into your next fight, and how soon can you fight again?
So for me, I'm new to this sport. As you know, I've only fought 6.5 years, under 7 years experience now. So for me, I'm just gaining experience, man. I'm just fighting whoever the UFC give me, and whatever path they want to give me, then I'll follow. If they want to give me another top guy, then I'll fight another top guy. But I'm just gaining experience now. I aim to break the top 15 next year. That's my goal. Whether that happens or not, whether it happens sooner or later, that's life will work its own way. But that's my plan. I plan to just train for the next 4 months or so and get back in there end of the year maybe.
So, for someone who's so new to this sport, you're taking on some of the bigger names that are unranked featherweights. So, are you trying to make your name, like, make a name for yourself, and like intentionally going for these bigger name fights like Zubaira and Ricardo Ramos to like make more of a name for yourself and be more respected for the UFC fans?
Yeah, of course, man. I just want to put on shows, man. I just want to fight, have good fights. But I'm just literally taking whoever Sean Shelby matches me with. I was matched with Gabriel Benitez, another veteran, UFC veteran. I think he had 8 fights in UFC. I was supposed to fight him in London. Obviously the pandemic put a stop to that, but I've been given the top guys outside the top 15. And to me, they're just big opportunities to make my name.
Yeah, when that London card hit, it was like a very delayed reaction to see if it was going to happen or not. Because, it took until like the day before, or a couple of days before, until Dana officially shut down the event. Did you have any hope, like before it was shut down, did you have any hope at all that the London card was going to happen?
Yeah, of course. I just kind of tried to stay positive and just waited because you just never know with things like that. And the way Dana's been moving, like you could have put it on somewhere else. So I just kind of stayed on it. I didn't really know what was going to happen.
So in your ideal world, I know a lot of fighters, like especially the case in point, and this is Leon Edwards, are having
Yeah,
trouble leaving the UK for fights. In your perfect world, I mean, the London card was supposed to be in February, I'm pretty sure, and you didn't, not in February, but yeah, March, my bad.
Yeah.
And you didn't end up fighting until July.
Mm.
Would you have wanted to fight earlier, but the UK made you stay in the country?
Yeah, I've been ready to fight all year. I've been in camp all year. I've been ready to fight. All I've been waiting for is Dana, Sean Shelby, just to say, here you're fighting here. Let's go here. So we've been in camp all year. Been ready to fight. As soon as was able to travel, the booked us fights in Abu Dhabi, and we got there straight away.
I want to go back a bit to UFC 242 and your fight with Zubair Tukhugov.
Yeah.
Going into the fight, did you feel like you were being a bit disrespected as your opponent was a close friend of the card's headline attraction, Khabib Nurmagomedov?
What do you mean by disrespected?
I don't know, like not like slept on, like not looked
Yeah.
at as much.
Yeah, of course, man. What was I think I was 8-0 going into that fight, and he's a big fighter. He just see me as a striker that couldn't wrestle. He's gonna take me down if he needs to take me down, and he's gonna beat me up. I was just kind of given to him for a win in front of his home crowd, I think. But I don't think I'm an easy fight for anybody. So we changed that plan.
Yeah. I mean, after that fight, a lot of people didn't expect it to be as close as it was, and you showed why you really are a top talent in the division. Do you think that you gained a lot more attention from having such a tough fight, a close fight with a guy as well known as Tukhugov?
Yeah, of course, man. That was a massive opportunity for me, and I still kick myself to this day. I think I should have won that fight. I should have. I made a few little rookie mistakes, which is all an experience curve, and maybe it was a good thing I didn't win the fight because I would have then not have made the adjustments because I would have got away with it. But yeah, that was a massive opportunity, man. I should have got the win there, but it was a perfect opportunity. I got to get my name out there, and I got to show the UFC that I belong there.
Yeah, you certainly did do that. And the first round of your fight against Tukhugov did not go too well for you, but then you went out and won the last 2 rounds on 2 of the judges' scorecards. What adjustments did you make in between rounds? And was there anything that your corner said to you that led you to change the momentum of the fight so drastically?
No, it was just my own mistake. Really, I was too calm, and it's basically you fighting at this level, then all of a sudden you're fighting at this level. So in that space of time, which was the first 2 minutes of the round, I wasn't used to that level. I wasn't used to somebody trying to take my head off. Do you get what I'm saying? So when he caught me, then I thought, wow, right, I need to adjust, and I just adjusted straight away. After the first round, it was all my fight.
Yeah, it was. And one of the things that, he's one of the Russian fighters just taking over the UFC right now. One of the things they're all known for is their just crazy, unorthodox grappling skills. As someone who's been on the ground with one of these people, what is it like to grapple with such a lifelong grappler like one of these Russians?
So strong and so experienced. Like every little angle I'm trying to make to pull off a sweep or submission or get back up, he's shutting it off. He's just like, there's just always one step ahead, and he's very strong. He's good, man. He's a good fighter.
Do you think that when you started to take control in the fight that you were surprising him at all? That you were doing so well against him? Because I know those Russians have very high confidence in their abilities.
Yeah. I think he felt it at the end of when I caught him in the Kimura at the end of the first round. I think he thought, oh shit, like we're going to be in for a fight now. And I think his gas tank kind of kind of emptied from trying to stop me in the first. And after that, he just knew I was coming forward.
Yeah. So, right after the fight had ended, what emotions were going through your head, and what did you think the result of the fight was going to be? As you can never truly be sure with judges these days.
Yeah, so when the fight ended, I thought maybe I lost. But one, I was in his home country, and for two, he had a lot of time on top. I didn't know how the judges would score that. Obviously, I was causing the damage from the top. From the bottom, he didn't land any strikes when he was on top or anything. I went for the submissions. So it's just all about how the judges see the fight and what kind of scorecards are going off. But I just thought maybe hometown fighter, they're going to give it to him.
Yeah. Did you think that you had won the fight? Did you think that the judges were going to give it to you at all? Because one judge did.
Yeah. At that moment in time, maybe not. But when I watch it back, I think I won. When I watch it back, but it is what it is, man. Like it depends where you're sitting in the stadium and what if you count the wrestling or the significant strikes more. It's just one of them things. So if you leave it to the judges, it's one of them.
Yeah. Now you are currently undefeated, but going into the Tehukov fight, you would never had a result other than a win, but that fight was ended up being a draw. What did it feel like not winning, but not losing your first fight? What is it like going to a draw and still being undefeated? Do you feel like you're undefeated even though with that draw on your record?
Yeah, because you've not been defeated, but it still felt like a loss. Like I didn't win that fight. Do you get what I'm saying? So that fight to me is just like I don't really care about it. I didn't win, so it's not. It doesn't feel like a loss, but it's definitely far from a win.
And what do you think are the biggest learnings you took away from that one to help you reflect in your performances in the future?
Just decision making, and at this level, you can't afford to make stupid mistakes. And little small mistakes cost you the fight. It's simple as that. And I nearly made one on Wednesday night when I took Ramos down. I didn't put my hips down, and he ended up rolling me over. That could have been the end of the fight. You just never know. Like I just need to cut these small mistakes down before I touch the top 15.
When he was on your back, how close was he to getting a submission? Because I know he was trying really hard for that rear naked choke. He lands on a lot of people.
Nah, nowhere near. I had his wrist control, and that's what was working. Once I've got double lock on his wrist, there's no way he's gonna choke me there.
Yeah. So one thing that you seem to have over a lot of other featherweights is your insane knockout power, which is like it's awesome to watch. Now this power is on display in your most recent bout, and as you seem to have a huge advantage over Ricardo Ramos when it comes to that respect. What exercises and training drills do you do to maintain such devastating power like the one you have?
None. It's just natural power, bro. Just born with it, man. You either born with it or you're not. Simple.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think that's all the questions I have today. I would like to thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Is there anything you want to say to the people out there?
Anytime. Just watch out for me. Hopefully I'll get back out in December, but if not, you'll see me thereafter. And when I come back next time, I'll be much better.
Again, I would like to thank Lerone Murphy for joining me today, and I would like to thank you, the viewer, for watching this interview. I've been Zach Harkness with MMA Island, and I will see you all in the next one.